is now a servant of the Lord. And he is so feared by the believers because his former life and his present life are in such contradistinction that they are afraid to take him in. You will never know that Jesus is all you need until you wake up and discover that Jesus is all you have. Walk with me around the text. In verse number 23, after some time had passed, the Jews plotted to kill him. Paul plotted to kill Jews, and now the Jews are plotting to kill him. The Jews that he was with in his blaspheming of the Christ are now the Jews that hate him so much they want to kill him because he's left them to follow Jesus. He leaves this veil of tribulation and runs right into the people he had come to destroy, because once you see the truth, once you believe the truth, it's hard for somebody to convince you of a lie. Once you know God for yourself, once you have tried him for yourself, you can shout on somebody else's testimony. You can give God praise for somebody else's blessings. You can thank God for what he's doing in somebody else's life. But when he does something in your life and you have your own story, you have your own testimony, when you know the truth for yourself, nobody can turn you around. When you're a true believer, you don't run from the Jehovah's Witnesses. You don't tell your children to tell them you're not home when they knock on the door. You go outside and argue, contend for your faith. Because if you don't know what you believe, you shouting on credit. See how quiet you got right there? If you're not going to Sunday school, if you're not reading the scriptures for yourself, if you don't know God in your own personal life, and you come to church on Sunday morning and give God praise, for what? You don't know what you're praising. You don't know who you're praising. But if you know him personally, not because of what your mama told you, not because of what your Sunday school teacher said, but your back has been up against the wall. Your testimony is Jesus is all you need, because Jesus is now all you have. I'm looking at some people. I know some stories in this congregation of people who have come to the end of themselves only to find themselves. It's when you leave that old life that your old friends don't want to have anything to do with you. When you leave your old ways, when you pass by the places you used to go to, when you meet up with the friends you used to drink with and smoke with, and now God has made a difference in your life, those same people who used to partner with you no longer want to have anything to do with you, because when God saves you, he changes you. Sometimes you just have to endure times of testing, because you're not doing anything wrong. You just turn your back on your old life, and that comes with some oddity, something mysterious about you, something different about you. Listen, you don't have to do anything to people for them to dislike you. And sometimes it comes out at the most inopportune time. You thought they were on your side. You thought they really loved you until something happened to bring out of them what's been in them all the time. That doesn't have anything to do with you. That has something to do with the devil testing whether or not you believe all you say about God. Because when your enemies assail, that's when your strength kicks in. I wish I had somebody here who's been through some time of testing. It's when the devil comes to destroy your testimony and make you act out of your character, it is then that God gives you the strength you need to look in the face of folk who's supposed to love you, who have tried to destroy you, and say to them, if God be for us, who can be against us? I said this the other day to someone I love, that the craziest things happen in families at death and funerals. And don't let 15 cents be involved. Don't have a shiffer robe full of clothes. You got to be a certain age to know what a shiffer robe is. People, what is in them has been in them all the while, but stress brings it out of them. They've been wanting to say it, but now they blame it on grief. Talk back to me if you can. Or they get drunk enough to speak their sober mind. But you can't let how other folk feel about your testimony destroy how you give God praise. Because what somebody else thinks about you has nothing to do with what God has done in your life. If the Lord's been good to you, don't let them stop you from hollering. Let the redeemed of the Lord and because Paul gave God praise, they plotted to kill him. But God will make a way. They let him down a wall. Listen to this. They let him down through a wall, in an opening in the wall, and they put Paul in a basket. I want you to get this. They put him in a basket and let him down a wall. The very blessing that God sent to them, they let him down in a basket. There's a basket of blessing for every persecuted believer in here this morning. What they trying to keep from you, God will give you more than that. What they're trying to destroy in you, God will keep letting you rise, that your enemy gonna have to look up to you. David said it better than I can say for me. In the presence of my enemies. Come on, you can help me say it. He anoints my head with oil so that my cup is just running over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me. Wish I had a witness here. Even when I try to get away from blessing, God will just send one my way. Even when I'm not looking for a miracle, God will just open a door. Even when I was not expecting a blessing, God will let a basket down in my life. I've seen him do it. I said, I've seen him do it. I need somebody else here who can testify. I've seen him do it. Yeah. I was going to Mississippi to preach, and Brother Stephen Scott's mother passed, And I did not want to miss her service. I had to be gone to Mississippi that day, that Monday, to preach. But I did not want to miss Stephen's mother's funeral service. And he implored me to go on to Mississippi, but I wanted to be there for his mother's funeral service. And so I asked Reverend Thomas Davis, who's now at Riceville, to go to Mississippi and preach in my place. And I had some heavy stuff that I had to do that I needed that money. It ain't no sense in me acting like I had it like that. At that time, I needed that money. I'm pretty good right now, but at that time, I needed that money. So I told Thomas to go, and I told the pastor, don't worry about paying him. I'm going to pay him. But I needed that money. I sent Thomas in my place, and I gave him, before he left, $1,000 because the pastor was going to pay me well, and I needed all that he was going to pay me. But I gave Thomas $1,000 to go and preach in my place. Before church was over, somebody walked up to me and said, Pastor, the Lord has just moved me to give you this amount of money. $1,000 in an envelope. God's got a basket of blessings. If you just trust him, if you just take him at his word, if you just believe that he will make a way out of no way, let the folk talk about you. Let the people try to put stumbling blocks in your way. Let folk try to stop your progress. God will send a basket of blessing in your life to make you know I'm with you. Here it is. They let him down a wall in a basket. He escaped persecution. Paul escapes in a basket. But now he needs encouragement from a brother. He escapes in a basket, but he needs encouragement from a brother. Because he goes to join church and he's rejected. Let's not be too hard on these people, because Paul was a killer. Paul had a notorious reputation. Paul was a dangerous man. Paul was violent. He was vicious and ferocious in his persecution of the church. And for good reason, the church rejected him. You think we would take Charles Manson in here this morning? Or Jeffrey Dahmer in here this morning? Or some notorious serial killer or robber, somebody who's been convicted of murder, and they come here and want to join this church. They killed several people, and we put them on the front seat? We'd have 10 security guards around them, and the FBI and the CIA and everybody else investigating them before they joined the church. We would do the same thing. They were scared to take him in, and for good reason, but thank God for Barnabas. He was rejected by the church, but restored by a brother. Barnabas went to sit with him on the back row. And after Barnabas got through talking to him, Barnabas said, let's not be afraid to take him in. He's not what he used to be. He's not the man that he was. I know he used to be persecuting Saul, but now he's praying Paul. Let's give him a chance. You're going to help me go to the close of this little word, won't you? And somebody here today, God had somebody to give you a chance. You didn't deserve it. You didn't earn it. You didn't work for it, nor were you worthy of it, but somebody had to give you a chance. I'm learning as I get older, and I had to get older to learn this, but I'm learning as I get older to give people the benefit of the doubt. Everybody who's in this church today, each individual one of you, along with myself, is not one particular thing. There's a lot of things that goes into making you who you are. So whenever you see a person fall, don't judge them, because you don't know how long they tried to stand. And maybe had you been walking in their shoes, you might have fallen a long time before. It's easy to judge when you don't have all the facts. Talk back to me if you can. It's easy to point your fingers at people who've done something that you think you would never do. But you've never been in that circumstance. You've never been in that situation. Don't talk about what you won't ever do. Thank God for what you haven't done yet. It's by the grace of God that you haven't done what somebody else has done. But we are not here to compare testimony with somebody else. Thank God for what he delivered you from, and somebody had to give you a chance. Thank God for the Barnabas in the text, and thank God for Barnabases in this congregation. People who encourage other people. Because from time to time, all of us need to be encouraged. All of us need a pat on the back. All of us need somebody to say you're doing a good job. All of us need somebody after we fall to pick us up and say, I know you messed up, but I'm on your side. Have I got a witness here? And if you don't have anybody to do that for you, then do what David did. David patted his own self on the back. David learned how to encourage himself. And you're not going to get people to always congratulate you. That's why you got to have confidence in yourself. You remember when David found the Ark of the Covenant in the home of Obed-Edom, and he was taking it back to Jerusalem, and he got so happy, he got so encouraged by the presence of the Lord finally with them, he started dancing all out of his clothes. His wife looked at that and said, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. You're making a spectacle of yourself. You're embarrassing yourself in front of these women dancing all out of your clothes. David said, you ain't seen nothing yet. Wait till I get this ark back to where it belongs. You think I'm dancing right now. You think I'm praising God right now. You wait until I get God back right where he belongs. And somebody ought to tell somebody in here this morning, you think I'm shouting now. God hasn't answered my prayer yet. God hasn't come to my rescue yet. But you ought to come back here next Sunday, and if God answers me, I'm going to holler. And if he don't answer me, I'm going to holler. And if he answers, I'm going to holler. And if he don't answer, I must, because if he doesn't do anything else, I wish I had a witness here. Don't let anybody gauge your shout. Don't let anybody judge your testimony. You don't know what God has done in my life. Like Paul, don't judge me by the heights I've attained, but judge me by the depths from whence I've come. Because anybody can give God praise up here. You got to learn how to shout when you're down there. Anybody can thank God when you got it going on. But when you down to your last dime, can you still tell God thank you? When mother and father is gone, can you still give God glory? When you being castigated and lied on and criticized, can you still come to church and hold your head up, lift up your head? Come on, you can help me say it. O ye gates, and be lifted up, ye everlasting doors, and the King of glory shall come in. Who is this King of glory? The Lord strong and mighty. The Lord mighty I've watched him fight my battle. I've watched him put down enemies for me. I've watched him open doors that were closed in my face. I've watched him put food on my table. I've watched him raise me up off my sick bed. I should have been dead. But thank God I had some Barnabases in my life. I want to give you a little homework assignment. If you can remember, or if you have to write it down, remember this. Take a moment today at some time, some point during this day. Don't let this day pass by without texting or calling or writing somebody who has encouraged you. Somebody who has made it possible for you to be where you are. Some supervisor who took a chance on you. Some teacher who stayed with you after school. Some Sunday school teacher who prayed for you that you would come out good on the other side of your situation. Some preacher, some old person in your life, some young person, your equal in your life who stood with you in the testing times. Don't let this day pass without calling, texting, or writing a Barnabas and telling them, thank you for standing with me. Thank you for being on my side when maybe that person is here. You might want to get up from where you are right now if you see them and go tell them, thank you for being there for me when I needed you. I know I wasn't always there for you, but you are always there for me. And I am who I am right now because some Barnabas in my life made the difference. I'm trying to hurry here, but he escapes in a basket. He's encouraged by a brother, and he's an example of boldness. They're trying to kill him. They're trying to kill his witness because he's talking boldly about what God has done for him. And brothers and sisters, hear me as I hurry. Paul never preached without telling his testimony. He never witnessed without talking about what happened to him on the Damascus Road. With all of his education, with all of his training, with all of his knowledge, he said, I consider it all dung, the refuse of the human body. I consider it excrement, trash, rubbish, except I know Jesus Christ. Somebody ought to help me close here. Paul did not look down from his ivory tower at people who were not as intellectual as he was, because our world is in danger of being destroyed not by unlettered ignorance, but by unsanctified intelligence. That's intelligence that's not been baptized in the grace of God. The best thing in this church is somebody who got good sense and good religion. A head full of sense and a heart full of sin makes you a menace to society. But if you got learning and burning, information and inspiration, if you got a heart for God, you don't look down your nose at people who are not where you are. Paul said, it's by the grace of God. You're going to help me close this, won't you? It's by the grace of God I am what I am. That's somebody else's testimony in here. By the grace of God, I am what I am. Look back over your life a minute and see where you came from. Maybe you came from a privileged background. You never knew anything about hunger. You never knew anything about being outdoors. You had a mother and father who provided and took care of you. But when you got grown, you made some grown-up mistakes. You did some things that you wish you could undo. That's reason to give God thanks for delivering you from that. Or maybe you were drug addicted and God got you off drugs. And people who see you now can't believe that you are the same person that you used to be. Brother George Dokes is in here this morning. Mark Lewis went up to Plaquemine, Louisiana to preach where Brother Dokes is from. And one of the people was asking Mark where he was, and Mark told him he was in Houston at Lily Grove Church. And the person said, I know somebody in Houston at Lily Grove named George Dokes. And Mark said, yes, Brother Dokes is one of the deacons at our church. And that person said, what? George Dokes is a what? Mark said he's a deacon. He said, You must have another George Dokes in mind. Somebody will help me preach about this Negro over here. And then I told Dokes about that. He said, Reverend, I used to work at this store. And I brought more stuff to home than I put on the shelf. But the Lord done delivered me from that. He said, I was a crook. I was a rascal. But the Lord has delivered me from that. Dokes ain't the only used to be crook in here this morning. It's some more of us in here that somebody hears that we go to church. They say they go where? They doing what? You used to be at the club all night long. You just be coming home by this time of day from Friday night. But the Lord done delivered you from all of that. Come on, help me testify. God is a good God. Even when I was messing up, God was on my side. Even when I didn't have sense enough to look out for myself, God was looking out for me. Somebody was at home praying for me, asking God to make a way out of no way. You might be wondering why some of these people carry on the way they carry on in church. It's because they got something to be carrying on about. Because God has been delivered them of much. And if you've been delivered of much, you learn how to praise much. You're going to help me close this, won't you? The reason Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego could shout in the fiery furnace is because before they were thrown in the fire, they said, King, we're not careful to answer you in this matter because the God we serve is able and he will deliver us out of your hands. But if not, we are still not going to bow and worship your golden image. They threw him in the midst of a burning fiery furnace and heated the fire 7 times hotter than it was normally heated. The king looked in and thought they would have been incinerated by now. But he said, didn't we throw 3 men bound in the fire? They said, yes, O king. He said, well, I see 4 men loose walking around and they don't even look like they've been burned. God will show up in your fiery furnace. They threw Daniel in a lion's den. Daniel couldn't fight, but the Lord made sure that the lions wouldn't bite. He stayed there all night long on the lion's back. The king got up early in the morning, looked down in the den. Now I want you to get this. Daniel slept at night, and the king who threw him in couldn't sleep that night. Daniel slept all night, but the king that threw him in couldn't sleep that night. Let me say it one more time for emphasis. Daniel slept all night, but the king who threw him in couldn't sleep that night. Because all night, all day, God God will send angels. I wish I had a witness. Has God ever sent an angel to watch over you? Has God ever taken care of you in a situation you got yourself in? Has God ever brought you out of your fiery furnace? Has he ever brought you out of your lion's den? Has he ever brought you out of your Philippian jail? Then you ought to do like Paul did and praise his holy name. Is he worthy to be praised? If the Lord open doors for you, now would be a good time. If the Lord open a way for you to make it, you ought to tell him thank you right now. If he brought you out and you're not ashamed to testify, you can give him glory right now. If he put down your enemy for you, if he raised up friends for you, if he paid your bills for you, if he saved your soul, heal your body, put money in your pocket, food on your table, clothes on your back, this would be a good time to tell him thank you for all you've done for me. Ain't he all right? Ain't he all right? Why don't you grab somebody? Tell them you don't know like I know. You can't tell it like I can tell it. What the Lord, I know he's all right. I know he's all right. He walks with me. He talks with me. He tells me I am his own. And the joy, I need some joyful people. I need some happy people. I need some grateful people. If God has done something for you, if God has opened the door, if you're grateful this morning, why don't you tell him thank you? Shout his name. Guide me, oh, great Jehovah, pilgrim through this barren land. I am weak, but thou art mighty. Hold me with your powerful hand. Bread of heaven, bread of heaven, feed me, 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 feed me. I know he's all right. When your enemies attack, and sometimes your enemies are members of your own family. Sometimes the folk you least expect to be dogging you is the very ones plotting your destruction. But no weapon formed against me shall prosper. Because while they are plotting, God is planning. Because Jeremiah says, I know the plans that I have for you. Plans to prosper you, to give you a future and a hope.